Hi guys, and welcome to the vlog where I finally go ahead and read some of my most anticipated new releases of this year before they actually get released, because for some reason, publishers found me worthy enough to send me early copies of books that I've been anticipating reading for so long now that Christmas feels like it's come early. I have them all downloaded onto Kindle, and so let's just directly jump into the vlog where I read some exciting arcs that were sent my way, so let's just directly get into it. So to start off with, I'm thinking I want to pick up the new Brynne book. There's actually two coming out this year and I was sent copies of both of them, but I want to start with the short story first because in real time as I'm speaking to you, it comes out or it gets properly published for the mass public or whatever tomorrow, which means I want to go ahead and read it no matter what today, finish it out. And it's only a short story, so it doesn't feel like a lot. It'll feel kind of like a sampler into what her writing's like, because I do want to read her, I think it's called Ruinous Love Trilogy, and before I get to that, I can just experiment around, see if I enjoy this one specifically. And so I'm gonna get into it. I'll see what it's about, and since it isn't very long, I'm just gonna update you once I'm done with it, because I believe it's only 70 pages and I should be done in no time. So I'm gonna go get into it and I'll see you all hopefully in a little bit once I'm done with it and with thoughts, because I've been looking forward to reading her books for so long now. I love a good serial killer romance and I do believe that's her forte, so let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go start reading and I'll catch up with y'all in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, so it's now the next night. It's really late as you can probably tell. This evening I wanted to come in and update so bad because I finished that book out. I finished it within 1 hour of updating yesterday, but it was too late then to come and speak. And so I literally had everything set up except my eyes were literally closing. So I told myself I'd give myself like a 5-minute nap and wake up. It's been 5 hours. What did I literally expect? So here I am now, coming in for like a quick update before I'm going to run for dinner, because it's frankly too late to be eating right now, but I have to go do it anyway since I'm like starving, which is why quick update first and then I'm going, because like I said, I need to get to other things too. But essentially I did end up going ahead and reading the new Brynne novella. It's called Love and Other Killers, and before anything else, let me serve as your cautionary tale. Do not believe everything Goodreads tells you, because it was listed just by itself. It wasn't listed like as part of a series, so I assumed it's like a standalone. Went in completely blind because I wanted to be like shocked or whatever. As it turns out, a few chapters in, it actually took me that damn long because I have a thick brain or whatever. I did not realize. This is based off of, it's kind of like a, I guess, novella set in the world of Ruinous Love. So all the couples from the Ruinous Love trilogy that I was discussing earlier, they're the main characters in this book, and it kind of is like an epilogue novella almost of their lives after those books. So because I haven't read those books and I don't know those characters yet, and I went ahead and read this book, literally nothing made sense to me. I didn't know anyone, and so went back on Goodreads to check, and clearly it's not listed as, you know, under the series or whatever. It still is as a standalone. So I don't know whose fault it is here. If you want to go in blind, definitely don't go in blind specifically for this one. See what it's about. And if you want to go in blind, just make sure you have gone ahead and read the series, because otherwise, like me, the book just won't hit, because I feel like it just felt a little too insta-lovey and all over the place and nothing made sense to me. And I feel like for now, I'm just going to give it 2.5 stars as a rating placeholder for when I go ahead and read the series and reread this book, because by the time I realized that it's not part of the series, I had like literally 1 chapter left, so I figured might as well finish the damn thing out. So that's my fault, but basically this book is about all those characters, essentially all the 3 couples from the 3 books or whatever, and they're all serial killers apparently. So what they do is hunt and kill other serial killers. So now they've got something called the annual August Showdown, wherein it's like a competition yearly or whatever, wherein they have to go ahead and track down a cold-blooded psychopath or whatever and kill them. And this one's, I guess, target is this man called Munster or whatever, and he does this thing wherein he's a chicken farmer, but he does like gross things like with killing and then his chickens or whatever, and that's how he kind of gets rid of the bodies. I don't want to get banned on YouTube by saying all of this, but basically he's messed up in the head, and so he's the target for this year. And basically the job of the 2 teams or whatever, they're divided into girls versus boys, is to go ahead and hunt him down and kill him in the most like grotesque way possible, because he deserves it with his like victim count or whatever. Except as they're doing all of this, there's only one catch. This year's showdown, someone else might be watching and these guys could get into trouble. And again, I feel like that storyline was just not very well developed enough. It didn't really go anywhere. So here we are. I don't know, for some reason it just wasn't my cup of tea, so I'm really scared because I do want to read the new book. I haven't sent like an arc of it, but I don't know when I will get to it, because I thought I will in this video if I enjoyed this one, but I had honestly not a great time with it. So unfortunately this is how I'm feeling right now, which is why we'll just move on to the next book. But thank you so much, Amazon Original Stories, for sending this arc my way regardless, because again, whenever they send me arcs, honestly, it feels like I've done something right. So here we are. This is where I am. I'm gonna go jump into the next book now, and then maybe after the next book we'll get into the next Brynne Weaver arc I have, just to like break things up and like get like a little break in the middle. But like I said again, if you want to read this, definitely go ahead and please do so. Do not stop on my account. Just remember that you have to go ahead, no exceptions, and read that trilogy first, please, because otherwise nothing will make sense to you. So once I do read the trilogy, I will get back to this at some point in the future. It's just for now, my rating of 2.5 is almost like a placeholder until I give it my actual rating once I've actually gone ahead and read the books. But that's where we are right now. I did finish that within 1 hour of updating, and I still had some of time in the night or whatever because I like reading on my Kindle before bed, and then all of today because I commute back and forth for college, and my college is like almost like 1 hour away. Sometimes with traffic it's 1.5 hours away with public transport, and so thanks to all of that I gotten like maybe 4ish hours of reading beyond because of all of yesterday that I had left, and then today on my commute over or whatever, which is why here we are. I did go ahead and start the next book, and I have got some decent progress in, but also it's really freaking long, so my progress doesn't look like a lot in comparison with the whole book. But I don't know what I did. I feel so unworthy in comparison to everyone else who's been looking for this arc or looking forward to it for like little months now, but I was finally sent, when I checked my inbox, because I'm useless at checking or whatever, an arc of the new R.F. Kuang book. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it because I genuinely just don't know how you say it, but this is what it's called. It's kind of like a Greek word, and it makes sense in comparison to the whole storyline. And I started it and I just cannot put it down. Even throughout college I was like pulling out my phone randomly, reading on the Kindle app. So it's amazing, it's great, but I want to establish my concept before I give you like a good quick summary of it, because I want to get like all my nitty-gritty details essentially established correctly, all the facts of this book before I come speak about it, because it feels not like something I would read, but at the same time I don't want to count my chickens too early. I think I'm looking at my next 5-star book if things go the way they're going right now. So I'm having the best time. It's just give me a little bit so I can formulate what I actually want to say about it, to kind of explain why I'm having a good time. For now, the only thought I have is that this woman has gone ahead and laced something within the pages of the book, because I'm addicted. I cannot stop. I'm literally inhaling the whole thing. So here we are. I'm just gonna go keep reading, and maybe at like the halfway point or something, when I actually know what I want to say about this, I will be back and I'll come speak, I guess, in detail or whatever, give you all a summary, give you all thoughts. But for now, it's not something I would pick up, but I should go ahead and pick it up. And while I have been intimidated by looking at it over the past few months or whatever on my Kindle, listen, I need to go ahead and read this. I wish I read it sooner, and I need to go ahead and read more of her books, because truly, if they're like this book, I'm sorry, she's gonna be my #1 favorite author of all time now, and I see the hype. So I'm gonna go get back into it, and so far so good. I cannot wait for the world to get this when it comes out in the next couple of weeks or whatever, because like, listen, this is gonna blow up and change your lives forever like it's changing mine. I'm so addicted, I cannot put it down. And so as I'm going eating dinner, I'll do like a sloppy job of reading at the same time and then get back to it once I'm fully done eating dinner. But that's what I'm doing right now. Those are my plans for tonight, and that sounds like honestly a perfect time to me. There could be nothing better. So thank you Avon and Harper for my arc, truly, because this book is changing my life like absolutely, and I'm so happy I get to read it early, because now I can kind of force you all into reading it once it comes out. And here we are. So I'm gonna go get back into it, and I'll see you all hopefully in a little bit with, I guess, thoughts on what's really going on once I have figured it out, because so far it's sort of like this thing with going to hell and back, and truly there's nothing like it. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll see you all in a bit. Bye. I will genuinely never understand the concept of time, because the last couple of evenings I literally vividly remember sitting here, exact same spot, telling you, hey, it's the next day, I've made progress on my book, and it is the next day, but I'm nearly done with my book. So I came in to kind of update, give you like a final like last clip or whatever before I go finish it out, and then I'll come in for my final thoughts next. So these are my semi-final thoughts before I go finish, because I have to give a summary and my thoughts. There's a lot to catch up on, but basically this is the last time I came in and spoke to you. I think it was yesterday. Stayed up till 5 in the morning to keep reading. went to bed, woke up again early back in the morning, so I slept only like a couple of hours or whatever, because while I did, okay, for context by the way, I passed my driving exam and my license came in last week. I did get my license in the mail, it's just I want to practice on the roads in the morning while they're still empty before I start taking the car out in traffic or whatever. I don't want to mess anything up. So because of me going ahead and having to practice in the morning, had to wake up super early, did all of that, came back, after that had a whole ass day at college, had to go do my like 1 hour commute in the morning, 1 hour again in the afternoon while returning, and there was traffic again, so I made it really back late. And the first thought I had as soon as I got back home, stepped in the doors or whatever, I want to read my book. It wasn't that I want to go to sleep, despite the fact that I was literally running on fumes at that point. I was so exhausted. Is that I want to read my book. So this book is definitely ruining my schedule in the sense that all I want to do is read it. Even the past couple days or whatever assignments I've got, I haven't even started shit on it or whatever. And the worst part is I have submissions next week, haven't started working towards any of them. I don't even have any urge to, I just want to read. So maybe the next book we'll have to pick up one of the audio arcs I've been sent so I can start working on the at least drawing assignments I have or whatever, because otherwise I'm gonna be so behind track thanks to this book. And that's the best feeling ever, despite the almost like unproductive guilt I'm feeling, because honestly there's nothing like a good book that makes you put your work off. But now for, I guess, update time on this book, because I haven't really spoken much about it. I will say at this point it isn't a 5-star read anymore. It just doesn't feel like it because a couple of things have come up and I will speak about them in a second. So I was counting my chickens too early, but it is definitely a book I'm really enjoying, and it's definitely something I'll be recommending for fall because I feel like the vibes are literally perfect for that. And it's definitely something that will come up in the future on my channel. It's just it doesn't feel like 5 stars anymore. So a quick summary before I give you my actual thoughts as to why it isn't anymore. Basically, our female main character is this woman called Alice Law. Her one true life goal has been to become the best in the field of magic, and she kind of decides to do so by giving up her literal entire life to go study magic at Cambridge and become one of the smartest minds there. So what she ends up doing is essentially sacrificing her health, her social calendar, her love life, everything she's got going, even her dignity goes right down in the gutter. She's doing everything she can possibly in her power to kind of get everything she can, I guess, scoped out or whatever according to her competence and become the best in her field. And the way she sees to go about doing so is also kind of going ahead and kind of going under the tutelage of Professor Grimes, who is well known at Cambridge to be one of the little worst teachers there because he is oppressive and he's like horrible, but she decides she's going to pursue it anyway because here we are, she wants to be the best in the field, and so she's going to do everything in her power to make that happen. Except as she's working under him or whatever as his student, there's a couple things that go wrong, and because she is pissed off, she doesn't really pay attention to what's going on in the magic, or at least one of the specific ceremonies, thanks to everything else and the stress that's been mounting with other things in her like life or whatever that's around. She ends up sort of messing up this like magical ritual and accidentally, questionably, kills off Professor Grimes. So now she's left off stranded and wondering what the heck she's gonna do, because it was his letter of recommendation that would have gotten her places, and now while she could literally just change out her professor or whatever, she still wants him specifically because it's his letter of rec that will get her truly the heights she wants to achieve in that field. And so she comes up with the genius idea to go into hell, to literally journey into hell, to bring his soul back so that he can come back, be her teacher again and teach her, except the price to do so is half of her natural course of life. And she decides, okay, it's worth it, I'm gonna go into hell, bring one of my most prized teachers back, except she isn't the only one who's got the idea, because her rival, Peter Murdoch, he's doing the same thing because he thinks he accidentally killed off Professor Grimes, and so they both kind of end up venturing to hell together. They're going to every single circle trying to find him, trying to figure out which sin he committed to end up in which place and bring his soul back. Because as all of this is going on, keep in mind they're two humans, their bodies are left in the human realm and they're going with their souls to hell. So as they're doing all of that, their souls are going to start deteriorating the more time they spend out of the body, which means they have like 14 days max to go ahead, go venture into hell out of every single one of the millions or billions of people there or whatever, to find one specific man and then somehow manage to bring him back along with them and return to their bodies safely by the 14-day mark or whatever. Otherwise they can risk losing their entire lives altogether. And so it comes with a bunch of, I guess, questionable things going on. And while they could have definitely switched out a professor, I see the hype or whatever, I do understand their reasoning. And so here we are, that's what they're doing and that's the goal essentially. But as all of this is happening, I do believe R.F. Kuang has described this as a love story, and while that isn't really the case, at least in my opinion, there is like a subplot of romance coming in just barely. I feel like you're getting hardly any crumbs or whatever. It's like a rivals to lovers, but so far, something happened or whatever, and suddenly Peter's not in the scene anymore. So we'll get to that in a sec. But basically, for me personally, I'd say the first 20% was such a banger, 5 stars. But then I feel like after that point, I started noticing that there was a lot of info dumping going on. It honestly felt like R.F. Kuang might have been a little braggy about the information she's got on this specific subject, because she goes into detail and I feel like a little too much depth about who said what about venturing into hell, and what's Dante's guide, and what's a different philosopher's guide, and what some other back from the 1980s said, and what some guy from UK said. And basically there's like a bunch of things going on to the point where I feel like there's a little too much info that's been dumped on you. Like I could potentially go without learning all of that and still make sense of the book. And so here we are. I don't hate it necessarily, it's just all that info dumping is putting me off just the barest bit, because now I'm finding it a little harder in terms of, I guess, brain power to focus when it comes to this stuff, because it isn't really relevant to the story. I feel like it's just added bonus, and we could have definitely skipped over some bits of it. So a little too much is going on right now in terms of that. It definitely feels like she's showing off what she does know of it in this field, which is not bad. Obviously it's her book, she can go ahead and do what she wants. It's just, for me personally, I feel like it's detracting from the story, because I didn't come here for like a dictionary on like a guide to hell. I came here to read the actual story, and sometimes it feels like the whole guide to hell essentially, or her version wherein she's speaking about what every other author said about it, honestly feels like a whole other book, a whole other theme in itself, and it's taking front seat or whatever. The main story goes on back seat, and it feels a little weird to me. So I feel like I wish the focus was more on the story than these other elements, the extra details that aren't really necessary, which is why it isn't 5 stars, because it is slowing down and getting boring at bits. But other bits, it's definitely, picking back up the place where I reached right now or whatever, before I decided, hey, let me just update or whatever before anything. It's great. It's just the info dumping in it is really overtaking me at the moment, and so it's like looking up to be like 4.5 stars, not 5 exactly, but it's still really good, and it still has me putting off sleep or whatever to read it, so it's a great sign. I will say though, in the afternoon I did go ahead, and after I picked this back up, once I came back, I did fall asleep while reading, and it's because I was pushing my physical limits. I literally cannot do so much in a day. I was literally running on fumes, but that's not the book's fault, because I would have finished in the afternoon otherwise. It's just I was too tired, which is why I'm gonna go finish it out now. But so far so good. I'm loving the way it's taking place. Honestly, I love our characters. I don't like love them, I just love being in their perspective and seeing, I guess, what has to be shown in their POV, because sometimes there's these like awful characters, but they kind of are justified in their POV, and once you start getting a backstory on both of them, while I still don't technically see the love story between the two of them and not a lot has happened yet, I see potential. And so I'm gonna go keep reading, see what happens with that. Hopefully Peter comes back in scene, because I'm missing him and I'm not ready to believe he's gone yet. And so we'll see how this goes, but I do believe I should be done by the next time I come in and speak to you. So I'll give you my final rating then, and I'm gonna go finish it out now, because it's 500 pages, but I'm addicted, obsessed, I cannot put it down. And so I'm just gonna go get back to it now, and I'll update you all once I'm finally finished with it. So see you all in a bit. Bye. Okay, so it's been like a whole weekend later. I have gone ahead and finished whatever you call this book, because again, I don't want to butcher the pronunciation, but basically I'm done reading it now. So I came here to give you like final thoughts and updates before we move on to the next book. And so it's time, I guess, because without further ado, I think I've already given you a summary. I can give you thoughts now. Basically, this is a love story in the loosest of sense, because the author did go ahead and announce somewhere that it is a love story, and I went in with those, I guess, like expectations. But till the very end, I feel like it's just insta love mixed with like a connection of trauma bonding. So take with that what you will. I found that aspect of the book really bad, and if you take that out, otherwise this could have potentially been a 5 star. The other reason why it wasn't a 5 star is because the whole journey to hell to get the professor back, I feel like that storyline was a little too extended. Pacing was really off in this book, because that whole going to hell, the actual process and journey of going there, is basically 90% of the book, and the very last chapter is where they finally find him or whatever, and then stuff happens from there. And so I feel like that the beginning, it was too slow, and then to the very end, when you finally get the conclusion of them finding him and whatever happens next, that was rushed. So the pacing could have been fixed and better of this book, because at some point I started getting bored. And then there was also info dumping in this book to the point where it honestly felt a little bit like the author was trying to brag on how much she knew on this topic, and like it made sense in some bits, but other bits I feel like it was just too much unnecessary information being dumped on you, and it made the story almost like a history book you were reading. So it got a little boring there, and I didn't understand why I was reading it at some point. So I feel like it had its moments. It definitely, was a good book to read, and it's definitely something you can pick up. It's not as intimidating as it looks, but it does come with its drawbacks. And so I'm not saying it's the worst book ever, but it's not the best book ever, and I'm just gonna give it like 4 stars because I did have a good time, don't get me wrong. It's just I expected this to be 5 because it is an R.F. Kuang book, and it wasn't. So again, I'm being let down by my reading slump. Here we are, a little too picky for books these days, but I'm still happy I read it. I'm still happy I went through this whole experience. And if you've read the book Ninth House, and if you want something with similar vibes, this almost gives the vibes of the first book in the Ninth House series, but with the storyline of the second one hellbent, and it's like a really good combination of the two, because that one I feel like that series is being extended for no reason. This one I feel like this was perfectly done in one book itself, and so here we are, take with that what you will, but so far I'm happy I read it. Now moving on to the next book. I actually wasn't able to decide which book I wanted to pick up next for the video, so I figured I'll read 2 more arcs in the video instead of just one, because I'm a little too indecisive when it comes to these things. So I figured it's still been too soon for me to go ahead and pick up the next Brynne book after the horrible experience that was Love and Other Killers or whatever that was called. So I figured let's go ahead and let's start this book. I believe it's called 30, Flirty, and Forever Alone. It's by this author that I've actually read a different book of last year, and I almost gave that 5 stars, but then there was like one trope thrown at the end, which is why it was 4.5. But it was still a really good book. I think about it sometimes. I think it's called Again But Better, and if you want to read it, you definitely can go ahead. So I figured, you know what, it's backlist of this author. I've already loved that one book by hers. I've been meaning to read another, and so it's kind of perfect that I got the arc of this, because literally why not? So again, thank you to the publishers always and forever for sending me arcs. And the second I saw it on my Kindle, I knew I wanted to get to it sometime soon. I believe this comes out in November in case anyone's interested in terms of reading or whatever, and so I figured I've got ample time, might as well actually go ahead and read an arc before it comes out. And so I figured I'll pick this up. I'll hopefully get the same vibes I got from the other book I've read by this author. But here's the thing, that one was more like high school college drama. This is more like an adult rom-com, and it follows people in their 30s, so there's not much I can relate to. But basically, in terms of summary, it follows this girl called Ricky Ramona, your most quirky, quintessential main character or whatever. Her name literally means forever alone, so she's kind of scared that her fate is gonna be that, which is why it's really hard to stay positive in the world of ups and downs of modern dating or whatever, because now she's become 30 and she believes that when women get older or whatever, it's harder for them to find a partner. So now she's having literally the worst weekend ever, because she has decided, okay, she's gonna go to 2 weddings in 2 days back to back, and the one date she had for those 2 weddings cancelled. So now the first one of the 2 is this like Disney themed wedding or whatever, and she's going alone as Rapunzel with no Flynn alongside her. So she's having literally the worst time, and truly this is the place where her whole meaning of her name comes into play or whatever, and she's just like, why the hell is this happening to me? And so as she goes to that wedding, enter this really charming guy called Reed. He's literally perfect. He's everything she'd want to look for in a guy, and so they end up spending the most like iconic night together, because surprise surprise, at that one wedding where she was the lonely Rapunzel, he is the lonely Flynn, and so they kind of connect or whatever. They have the best night together, except as it turns out, he lives like on the other end of the country, so he's literally perfect, except if she wants to pursue things with him after that one amazing iconic date they had, it's gonna have to be long distance, and in her opinion, long distance doesn't really work. So now she has to decide how she goes about that. But then now, also following along in that aspect, sorry about that, it's been thunderstorming, literally raining and pouring non-stop all of today, which is why we just had a power cut. I'm back on the backups. That's not really an issue or whatever, but basically I was saying that following along with everything else that's going on with her and her Reed situation, she's kind of missing him like 24/7 or whatever, and she's just hoping to always see him. So there's this this magical realism aspect that's thrown in there, wherein she has this journal and she kind of uses it to like teleport from one place to another. I don't really know if that's the word, but basically she has to do all these crazy things the journal is telling her to, almost like the book in the second Harry Potter one, you know, the Chamber of Secrets, and Harry gets that diary and whenever he writes in it, the diary kind of writes back to him. So it's almost like that book wherein she writes in the diary or whatever, and she wants to go see places, so she'll enter the name of the place and the diary tells her to do this one crazy thing, and then after she does it, so say bathing in like a bathtub full of 2% milk, she gets transported to wherever she asked to go in the first place. And so she's using kind of that journal to go from place to place to kind of still continue her relationship with Reed, but also it's supposed to be like magical realism thrown in there, and then alongside everything else she's got family trauma and drama, so all of that combines to make a very chaotic book, and that's basically this one. Now, in my opinion, what's not working for this book is the fact that it feels, no offense to anyone, like a self-insert of the own author into this, because I feel like quirkiness is fine to some extent, but then once it starts feeling like she's a pick-me girl, that's what this book is feeling like. And also I did go ahead and read like Goodreads reviews of other ARC readers, and I'm not the only one who's feeling this way, because it genuinely feels like the author has like copy-pasted her life into a book and you're supposed to enjoy it or whatever, and like it feels weird to me, it feels wrong kind of reading it, because the same like quirkiness was there in Again But Better, but for some reason it worked in that book, maybe because of their ages or whatever. Here this woman is 30 and she's pulling the classic I'm not like other girls shit, and for some reason, I'm sorry, I just cannot stand for it. Every time I read it, I'm cringing so hard and so bad. And then not just that, this book is supposed to be like a classic twist or whatever on the 2000s rom-coms. And if, for pop culture reference, if anyone's ever watched the movie 27 Dresses from back in the day, and if you've ever read the book Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, it's kind of like a crossover between the two, wherein if the two had a baby, it would be this book, but like in the worst possible sense, because truly, it's supposed to be great. It's just not, because she has that one night with the guy or whatever, they're hanging out, they're making all these jokes or whatever, running about from place to place, and if for some reason you're supposed to think that that warrants such like a deep connection to the point where they now like are absolutely like in love with each other, but I feel like the way it's done has no emotional depth whatsoever. I can't even say it's physical, because it's just nothing, there's no connection whatsoever. I literally just don't see anything, and you're supposed to believe that the two are starting to fall in love, so they decide, okay, we'll make like a long-term work or whatever, but like it just doesn't add up, because make it make sense for me. I don't see that connection. I don't see why they see or whatever they see in each other in the first place or whatever, and I honestly think they'd be better off alone, because truly they have zero chemistry. It's just being forced. It's very much a book wherein it's all talk. So yes, they love each other, and yes, whatever's going on, but it's all being told to you by the author. Nothing's really being shown, and so here we are, there's all of that, and then there's like forced, I guess, emotional bonding or whatever at the moment where I am right now, wherein he's like trying to fix the situation she's got going on with her father or whatever, everything in the ups and downs of her family life, and like I don't know, I just don't see that connection, which is maybe why I'm not having the best time with this book. And so I just wanted to come in and say, guys, this is what I'm reading, and hopefully I'll be done with this very soon, because I'm having actually the worst time ever. So don't be surprised if I come in tomorrow and I'll be fully done with the book and just be like, listen, 2 stars, because I hated it, because what else am I literally supposed to do? So now I'm probably just gonna go, and on NetGalley, the app, there's actually this feature where I'm actually going ahead and reading this book, where you can have it read aloud to you. And so now that I'm literally not able to focus on this book, I'm going on my phone instead of reading it, and that's the worst feeling ever. I'll have it read aloud to me, and maybe I'll go ahead and, as I'm listening to it or whatever, work on the thumbnail of the video that needs to go out tonight and paint my nails. So I should be done by tomorrow basically. If I don't finish by tonight, it'll definitely be on the commute tomorrow. It's just I wanted to come in and say I'm having the worst experience of my life, and now this is making me wonder if I want to read more books by this author, because for me personally this one just isn't it. So we'll have to see. If it's more of those like high school types, I will definitely go ahead, because that one book I've read of hers, it was actually amazing. Everything worked out in its favor. Even the magical realism and quirkiness made sense. Here it just feels out of place and clucky. So if you want to go ahead and read it, please do. But for me personally, I'm so disappointed, because I was looking forward to this book, looking forward to reading more of this author's backlist, and I'm being let down hardcore right now. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and continue reading, and I'll see you all hopefully once I'm done, and then we'll pick one last arc for this video, because so far the video hasn't really been great in terms of reading. I feel like the only somewhat good book I've read so far is the previous one, and that too I have my gripes with. So the slump is slumping. I don't know what to do about it. Recommend your favorite god tier books for me to catch up on until then, but for now I'm just gonna go finish this out and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I'll see you all in a bit. Bye. Okay guys, so I did go ahead and finish our book out this afternoon. I had zero urge to honestly get up from my blankets and come record right now. Literally been sitting in my PJs the entire day because it's been so gloomy. We have like storm alerts coming in. Weather is getting really bad. We're probably gonna have a flash flood this week at some point, and so you can probably tell from the window, whatever. It's 7 o'clock right now. Would you believe me if I said it's 7 o'clock right now when we literally had the sun going down at 7:30 a couple days ago? No. So summer's coming to a close. That's kind of sad, but essentially the weather has been really terrible for me to really do anything. But because I am a college kid, I cannot take the luxury of just curling up in bed all day, which means I do have to get up and get going now, which is why I've come in to update about our book, and then the next one I'll be picking up because I'm in desperate need of an audiobook right now, which is exactly what we'll be doing in the vlog. But until then, I did go ahead and finish whatever this was, 30, Flirty and Forever Alone, and I have a couple of thoughts to give you before anything, because again, I'm just not in the mood for this. My slump is slumping and I didn't have the best time. So here's what I want to speak about. I feel like this book is quite the self-insert and quite a projection of the author's real life into the character, and while that's not a bad thing, this is the second time it's happening with her books, and while the first time when I read her books or whatever, it wasn't glaringly obvious, this time once you read like the beginning or whatever and the very end where she's like putting acknowledgements and writing why she wrote the book and stuff, it does kind of make sense. And then if you go ahead and look up her social media, because she is on BookTube, it makes quite a bit of sense. So again, if you want to go ahead with it, I'm not stopping you, do not come after me, but this book isn't for me because it just felt like unnecessarily quirky at times and I wasn't having the best time. Another thing I noticed about it was that it was changing almost genres and personality types for the girl every time it was convenient for plot. So for example, for the personality types, at the beginning she's like a down bad hopeless romantic who is single, then towards the middle we're having all these like emotional, frankly traumatizing family issues, and then towards the very end you figure out she's been a man-hater all along. And then in terms of genres, this book alternates between trying, keep that in mind, that's the key word, to be a romance, to be almost like a thriller cautionary tale in the dating world, and then also kind of like a self-help women's fiction, but also it's fiction kind of book. So again, take with that what you will. I feel like this book was just taking too much of its time trying to make up its mind, trying to understand what it's trying to be, and so wasn't the best time for me. I feel like the plot lines were all over the place, there was no structure to it, and it wasn't the best book I've ever read. So I'm gonna give it like 2 stars and we'll move on, because I genuinely don't even want to look at it anymore. My slump is really bad and I'm hating every second, but here we are regardless. Now I think I want to move on to the next and I guess final book I'll be reading in this video, which is going to be the Brynne Weaver arc that I have. I think it's called Tourist Season or something like that. When I got the email of this, genuinely I wish I was recording because I absolutely freaked out, even though at that point I hadn't read a single book of hers, because I'm so excited. I believe it's like a serial killer romance, and right now because of the weather and everything else going on, I'm genuinely so over summer right now. Everything, even in my feed, is contributing towards fall vibes, and in my head I'm already in my fall, I guess like mindset or whatever. I'm literally looking up books on Kindle, fantasy ones that would give me a fall aesthetic. Tell me if this one's good because I got it and I want to start it at some point. But basically, I'm so down bad for fall or whatever. I just want it so bad. I don't think I've ever been more excited for summer to come to a close and fall to come in, even though I've always been a summer girl, which is why, tell me why this book is giving everything I'd ever want as a fall book, and so I'm so excited to start, which is why probably just gonna go do that now. I think I'll have it read aloud to me through the NetGalley app as I go listen and finish all the errands I have out, because again, I am a college kid. I don't really have the luxury of curling up in bed with my Kindle and reading. I just don't have the time for that right now with the kind of bad backlog I have of work. So I'll probably go do that, and then we can come speak about the book as I get some more progress on it. But that's basically the bare minimum of plans for right now. Also, I just wanted to say I managed to listen to most of that book, the previous one, and then I read the rest of it on Kindle while I was going ahead and doing my thumbnail or whatever last night. I didn't end up doing my nails, so at some point today I told myself that maybe I should go ahead and finish out my journal spreads or whatever for the journal vlog, because by hook or by crook I want to post it this week. It's been going so long, and so I told myself that until and unless I don't finish those spreads out, I won't let myself do my nails. And I have had the urge, it's been crazy for the past week or so, to be painting them pink, like really bad. So what I want to do right now is go work on my journal spreads, and once I'm done, only then will I allow myself to go ahead and do my nails or whatever, because I've wanted to do them for so long, and those journal things have been going on for so long. It's ridiculous that it's kind of like knocking two birds out with a stone. I don't like that metaphor, let's just say something else. But basically, it's like a reward system. So that's basically what I'm going to be working toward this evening as I go ahead and do my journal, then my nails, and then finally college actual stuff I need to be doing, which is why probably just going to listen to the entire book out, probably not read it on Kindle. But I did go ahead and see what it's about or whatever. I just started the book. I didn't start the first chapter, I just opened it up to see the beginning or whatever, and it's got quite the list of trigger warnings. So I'm excited to see where it goes from there and see the hype for this author. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna go start now, and I'll see you all in a little bit with more updates. But so far so good. I'm so excited to start, and my fall vibes are really kicking in. So let's see where this goes, but that's basically it. See you all in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, so another couple days gap because there was actually something going wrong in my file of the book, which is why I wanted to take the time to see if time fixes all. Apparently not, because I've still got issues. So basically, since the last time I came in and spoke to you, I wanted to read the new Brynne Weaver arc, Tourist Season, and I have it on Kindle. I have a copy here, but because on the NetGalley app you can have that copy read aloud to you, and because I'm a college kid, I wanted it sort of like as a text-to-speech audiobook, because while it isn't like an audiobook, it's still something I can listen to as I work, because college kid, I've got different things I need to be doing, especially like assignments and stuff I need to be getting on top of, and then the reading journal that I wanted to complete. And the thing is, I wanted to listen so bad. I started listening about the 13% mark. It stops out of nowhere, so I unlock my phone. I'm trying to check what's going wrong. It keeps saying that there's some sort of text-to-speech error. So if you guys can crack it for me, please let me know. I'll have it on screen or whatever, the details of it, because I screenshotted, because I have absolutely no idea what's going wrong, and like everything else is fine. The file is opening on Kindle, alright. I tried reading on Kindle, it works, but for some reason, even when I'm like deleting the app on my phone, reinstalling, for some reason it's just not working on my phone and it keeps giving me the issue. So if y'all can fix it, please let me know, because I'm not tech savvy, which is why I started the first 13%, had such a good funny time, alright. It's so murdery, it's so fall-esque, but I just cannot continue because of the file issue, and because I don't really have the time to sit down and read on Kindle, at least this week. So don't get me wrong, I do want to read this. I have been looking forward to, and now that I've already started, I will finish. I'm thinking next week, when things slow down a little and I'm recording like a Kindle vlog, I will most definitely, like 100%, read this book in that video. It's just for right now, I need like an audiobook kind of specifically, not something on Kindle, because I just don't have the time this week to commit to a Kindle book and have it done in time for this video to be out or whatever, which is why unfortunately we're stopping the read of it right now. Again, I'm so sorry, do not come after me. I will read it in next week's video, whatever that may be. I will incorporate it anyhow. It's just for right now, because I don't have the time to be reading on Kindle, we're not doing it. So I figured might as well in that moment pick up a different book, because I still needed audiobook to listen to, which is why I chose a different arc that was sent my way. Again, do not come after me, I'm so sorry. I wish I could be reading Tourist Season, but I cannot. So instead I picked up this other book. It's called Call Me Anytime, and when I was reading my 50 books in 50 days, like the very first episode, I don't know if you watched the video, you can if you want to. When I was researching what books I want to read for that video, what makes sense to be read in one day specifically, because that's the kind of shit wherein if I have the time, I need to lock in and finish one book, a whole book in a day. This is one of the books that came up on my list, but it wasn't out yet at the time, and I was like, okay, maybe when it does come out, I'll read it for a different vlog. And the funniest part is, it comes out in November, but I was sent an arc, so thank you so much to the publisher for it. it, and I'm so happy I picked it up because it's really funny and interesting. But first I'll give you a summary. Essentially, it follows this girl called Hannah May. She is living literally the worst kind of situation ever because number one, she used to work this job and suddenly she got fired from there or whatever, and she needs the money. She's strapped for cash because she's actually got a mom with Alzheimer's and she needs to be looking after her or whatever. So with all the intensive like memory care and everything that goes into her mother's, I guess, like well-being to look after, and then also she's got like house payments and a mortgage to look after or whatever, and then with everything else she needs also just some basic cash for a good standard of living so she can run like her daily day-to-day household. So along with everything, basically she's in the worst situation ever because she's literally got no money, she has no job, and she has no way of earning that money. So she's like looking in the newspapers for a job or whatever, and the first thing she comes across is this like telemarketing job. So she finds it interesting enough that she's just like, hey, let me go give an interview, and she goes there. She's given like a price quotation, everything sounds great, and she's just like, wait, this makes no sense because it's honestly too good to be true. Except that's when the bombshell drops. It's not a telemarketing job, it's more like a phone like role-playing job. So she's got no experience in any of that. She's never been in like a committed serious relationship, and suddenly now she's taking a job for like phone role-playing as someone who needs the cash desperately only for that reason. And you know, she's an amateur at it or whatever. She starts, and on her very first day, one of the callers is this detective Dominic Dunn. The funniest part is he's not calling in for whatever reason the other men are calling in for. He's calling in because the girl who was working the same hotline as Hannah, the one before Hannah, she was found murdered, and he is the detective assigned to her case. So for some reason there's this like pattern being established of every girl who works on that one specific hotline, it's called the Ruby, they are being found dead or whatever, murdered in these hotel rooms, and suddenly now he thinks she might be the next target or whatever. So he's trying to phone and tell her that, listen, we're coming in to investigate or whatever, we need like full cooperation and details. And she thinks he's one of the other men, so she starts like role-playing or whatever, and he just doesn't get it. So firstly, their interaction, their meet cute, is really funny, except from here things kick off where he actually ends up coming into the office. She realizes that she's part of this like murder investigation now, and she's doing it her all to kind of help them find the killer, because the person who's doing it is doing it in really horrible ways. They need to be brought to justice. And so now we have the cops and Dominic kind of listening in on Hannah's calls to kind of figure out which one of the callers could be a killer and ensure her safety as well. And as all of this is happening, what do we expect? Hannah and Dominic start falling for each other, but also nothing can really work out because he's like the lead investigator on the case and she's the lead informant in a way. And so they like each other, but they don't know what to do with that. And along with everything else, she's got her mom to look after, and everything with that again is like a whole other package you need to unwrap, which will take a little bit because things go really deep there. Her mom doesn't really recognize her at some point. She thinks she's like the main female lead or whatever of this like other like murder show she watches online, something like Criminal Minds or something. So there's lots going on. Basically, she has her mom to look after. She needs to work the job for money, even though she's physically scared of like bodily harm coming her way at some point. And then she's falling for him, and then there's the investigation that's going on, everything else with it. And so far I'll just say I've made some decent progress in, and I'm having a good time, don't get me wrong. But when I first started, the first like 40% I read, it was easily giving me like 5-star energy because I was having genuinely the best time ever. I was like giggling so freaking hard. It was so funny. The romance was everything to me, the slow burn build up. But then as soon as I picked it back up after the 40% mark, because I went for dinner yesterday and then I was like gonna continue my read again, for some reason it just dropped. I don't know how to explain it. It's maybe my slump because I was having such a good time, and then after that I feel like everything was sped up. So the pacing is great for the first 40%, but then after that, at least up until right now, it feels rushed to the point where now the slow burn romance at the first 40%, right now at this point it feels like insta love, and then the whole thing with the case or whatever, it feels a little underwhelming because he just dropped out of it, and like lots is going on basically. But basically, in my opinion, the book has just given such a 360 because I was getting such good vibes from it, and then now it's just taken such a complete turn that I'm hating every second and I'm finding it just like a mediocre read. So I'm gonna go continue reading it. That's the whole reason I put it down and just didn't go binge it in a day. But I will go continue now, and if I lock in, I should be done in the next like, I don't even know how long, but very soon. So I'm gonna go do that because I do want to give you guys like a final update today itself and finish the book out for the video because it's been going for quite some time now. It's just I'm not necessarily necessarily enjoying my read of it anymore, which is why I'm not really inclined to continue reading, pick it back up, listen or whatever as I do my work. So we'll see how that goes, but basically that's what I'm doing right now. So far it's a funny book, don't get me wrong. It's just for some reason it took a turn, the storyline, and I wish it didn't. But that's where I am right now. Still wish I was reading Tourist Season, because the place where I stopped off, it was so interesting and I can't wait to get back to it, and I will. It's just for now, I'm gonna go work on finishing this, concentrate on this first, and then I'll come update once I'm done, and then yeah, we'll read Tourist Season next week basically. But that's the whole long ass update I needed to give you. Long story made longer, and this is where I am at right now. I'm gonna go continue reading and I'll update with you all very soon, but basically that's what's going on right now, and that's it. That's literally it. I'm gonna go now because I'm so bad at cutting these updates short that I end up yapping the entire time, which is why I'll see you all in a bit, and bye. And oh, would you look at that, I finished. So my review is basically the same now that I've finished or whatever as what I said a few minutes ago or whatever when I was speaking about the summary of the book. I feel like the book was really good to start, and then now as it paced and it continued, I feel like there's definitely something that could have been changed and improved about that, especially the speed and the length of the book, because it was very well done the first 40%, and if it continued the same way it would have definitely been 5 stars for me. It gave me everything a book is supposed to give me, what I'm looking for in a book. I feel like the balance between the little like murder mystery situation but also the romance was perfect, and then it was hilarious enough that I was giggling every other page, and it was also lighthearted in the sense that it had its moments wherein it had to be deep. It was deep in the right aspect, but also it definitely gave you some fun happy moments too, and so it was my perfect balance of a book. But then right after that everything went downhill, and then because of the whole turn of I guess events or whatever, I didn't really like it. So I'm gonna give this book 3.5 stars. Don't get me wrong, that's a really good rating, but coming from someone who was nearly about to give it 5 stars and then immediately had to change gears and tactics or whatever once I realized that it isn't really what I was expecting after that whole change or whatever, it's a little disappointing. So here I am now. I feel basically the same way. I feel like the last like 60% or whatever, the pacing could have definitely improved or whatever. I feel like the whole communication storyline between the two of them could have been made better, and then not just that, I feel like the romance, it was a little too sped up at that point. I feel like the authors, I believe there's 2 of them, thought that listen, hey, now that we've got enough background on the 2 of them, let's speed things along because it's hit like the halfway mark or whatever, nothing's happened between them. But I feel like that made it really unnatural, the storyline, because these people have known each other maybe like 10 days total, and suddenly they're like falling in love or whatever, which feels really weird coming off of the previous few chapters or whatever. And then not just that, the whole murder mystery storyline, the investigation, it felt so flat for me because something happens in the romance events that makes him drop out of the case or whatever, and then after that you're barely getting any updates until the last like 10 odd percent when there's actually action stuff going on. And I enjoyed the action stuff, don't get me wrong, but until that came in, I was so underwhelmed with the whole thing. Even the whole mystery like plotline, it genuinely makes like 0 sense to me at this point. I'm still reeling, which is why here we are. I didn't have the best time, and so giving this 3.5 stars. I'll say otherwise it was a good time, the writing was great, and maybe I'll read more by these authors, but for now I'm a little sad because I was expecting better, and here we are. Now if you guys do know how to fix the whole tourist season like problem or whatever, please let me know, because in the meantime until I can get to it on Kindle, obviously I'd prefer it if I could listen to it, but if I can't or whatever, I will get to it next week. And again, it's disappointing because I've been hyping that book up since the beginning of the vlog and I just haven't been able to get to it at this point, but I will. Don't get me wrong, it's happening next week, but that's also something I wanted to mention. And now, regardless of everything else, we've finally reached the end of the vlog because I managed to read 4 different arcs on my TBR, feeling so good about all of them. But there are also moments wherein I am disappointed now because I had a couple anticipated ones in here that let me down. So hopefully tourist season will pull in clutch when I get to it next week, but until then, I think the only book I'd probably recommend out of this entire video like wholeheartedly would be R.F. Kuang's new one. Except that also I have qualms with. So I don't really know if this video was a success that I did get through my TBR or if it was a disappointment, because there were moments wherein I was just like, hey, this was one of my most anticipated reads of the year and it let me down. So here we are, take with this what you will, but I have reached the end of the vlog now. If you enjoyed coming along with me in this whole process or whatever of being indecisive like I do in a reading slump, like, comment, share, subscribe, YouTube things, you know how to do them, and stay tuned for next week's vlog when I'm definitely gonna go ahead and read tourist season, because now surprise, surprise, I have only one last thing left on my journal, which I'll be finishing right now or whatever, and after that I can basically go and work on any single vlog and give it my full determination and like concentration, which is going to be so fun because then it's coming really soon. So that's it. I'll see you all in next week's video whenever that comes out, and until then, take care. I hope you have a great rest of your day and see you all very soon. That's it. Bye.